When you talk about Bitcoin should be part of the portfolio, what kind of percentage are you thinking about? Is it a 5%, which generally seems to be what people are talking about, more or less?
It seems high to me. So I run our global allocation fund.
Mm-hmm.
We're running long equities. We're heavy income. We're running, in the 3 to 5% region on gold. Gold strikes me today as a better currency hedge. Bitcoin tends to trade with vol, tends to trade with the Nasdaq. So we're running considerably lower than that in crypto. I just think it's going to go up, and I think it's a good expression. But 5 seems high to me, but it depends where you are in your life and how much risk you want to take. Very different than the past. So maybe I'll start with the equity market. I mean, the first thing I would say, we're going through the most extraordinary technology dynamic I've ever seen before. I would stay long equities. By the way, you can buy vol, you can buy volatility very cheaply to manage your exposure. I'd stay long equities oriented to where growth in technology is. In fixed income is amazing. You're still clipping 6%. Would I stay 5 years in on the curve? I'd still clip that coupon. We're extending a little bit out. And then quite frankly, I mean, there's some interesting things to do in privates, bespoke markets. And I think hard assets have to enter the equation today. Gold, Bitcoin, things that give you a little bit of ballast in the portfolio against potential for currency depreciation.
The economy's weakening. Whether that is on the way to recession or just weakening, I don't know, and that just confirms what we already thought, kind of.
And I know
that's a big revision. So
those are big revisions. Yeah. I believe it's the biggest going back to 2000. And the day after you and I sat down in North Carolina about a month ago was the day that President Trump fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And since then, there have been some questions around, politicization of the data. And since you operate such a sprawling bank and you have unique insights, do you see any gaps between the numbers that the government's putting out and what you see within your own firm? And are you increasingly relying more on the numbers that you see within your own firm?
No, we get data like you wouldn't believe. The government data is important, our own data is important. We get data from non-government sources, and you can look at delinquency data, worldwide data, trade data. We get all of that, but trying to figure out what the economy is going to do is still hard to do with all that data. And maybe one day AI will fix that problem, but hopefully things will be okay. But you do see that kind of weakening, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I know this is a lively event, and we're here to celebrate the workforce. But given this renewed attention on Jeffrey Epstein and his links with JPMorgan and the New York Times investigation, we talked about this in the past and kind of the safeguards that JPMorgan has put in place. Do you feel like those are sufficient at this point in time?
Well, so first of all, as I've said before, we totally regret ever having done business with that man. But we always get better when we do. So when you talk about cyber or safeguards or anti-money laundering or bad guys in the system, we're always trying to improve that. And it'll never be perfect because the bad guys are quite smart too about how they go about it. But we're among the best in the world. Doesn't mean we don't make mistakes.
Well, let me just say something about the revisions that came out this morning, and this was one of the biggest revisions in absolute terms in decades. In the benchmark year, March 2024 to 2025, shows that the job growth was vastly weaker during the Biden administration than ever previously reported. Between this revision and last year's, job growth was actually overstated by approximately 2 million jobs. And the Biden administration stood up here and vouched for that data and told you that data was real. And when President Trump calls into question the veracity of that data, like he did before he took the oath of office and even now as President of the United States, he was ridiculed for that. And turns out this revision proves two things. Number one, the president was right, and this is why we need new leadership at the Fed. And this makes it very clear that President Trump inherited a much worse economy by the Biden administration than ever reported. And it also proves that the Federal Reserve is holding our monetary policy far too restrictive. Interest rates are too high. The Fed needs to cut the rates because of the mess that we inherited from the Biden administration.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Blackrock's Rick Reader. What did he say? Get into hard assets, gold, and Bitcoin in case of currency depreciation. Guys, they know what's about to happen. And they're telling you, but we know the sheep Stay distracted on things that don't matter. And that $10,000 that they have in the bank that they're holding on tight is really about 5 or 6,000. And that's the reason why we have the central banks buying up gold. The dollar is going to lose that world reserve currency. We're going on a level playing field. The dollar is not going anywhere, but it's going to lose that power. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Jamie Dimon on the labor number saying, yes, that was a big revision. Says the economy is definitely weakening. And we know all those jobs reports are false anyway. I go over it time and time again. You can play with numbers all day. And Trump said this jobs report is not right. He's exactly right. It's not right, but it's going in the opposite direction of what he's saying. We definitely know there's a whole lot of jobs being lost. And we know this is part of the plan, so therefore they can bring in the machines. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Jamie Dimon asked about Epstein. What did he say? We regret doing business with him. Guys, remember, Bernie Madoff also, and I can keep going on down the list. But we know the banks are the biggest what? I'll let you finish that. And then we have the White House bringing in Biden when it comes to this jobs report. And what are they doing? That's right, playing the Hegelian dialectic. It is undefeated. And then, guys, we have the drums of beating in Qatar. We know WW3 is right around the corner because this one right here is not going to be forgiven. And, of course, the United States knew all about it. And remember, the crypto teacher told you this. They're not going to let this slide. All this is going to do is keep bringing more and more nations against Israel. Guys, remember, this is a plan. It moves in phases. And then we have the Supreme Court will listen to Trump's appeal when it comes to these tariffs, and they'll listen in November. And we know, guys, around that time, we always get all this entertainment. And all we need to do is sit back, get our popcorn, because we know that black swan is coming. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. But that's all I have for you. Don't forget about the books.
The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Reporting from the White House here that the White House was notified by Israeli officials just before the attack that this would be taking place this morning. That's according to a White House official. So as we're learning more and as we do have confirmation now to NBC News that Israeli Defense Forces did carry out this attack in Doha, Qatar. John, some big news just now from the Supreme Court agreeing to hear the Trump administration's appeal of the case that invalidated the majority of his tariff agenda. Remember, these are the IEEPA tariffs that are in question. Nearly all of those country-specific tariffs we've seen so far this year imposed. That Trump administration lost this case in its first round of appeals just a couple of weeks ago, appealing it now to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court saying they do agree to hear this case, and they also agree to the administration's motion to expedite this case. That means we are going to see this on quite a fast-tracked timeline here. The Supreme Court laying out in a short brief saying that they are not only agreeing to hear the case, they are looking for opening briefs to be filed by Friday, September 19th. That's next Friday. And then a long timeline here that allows for the cases to be set for argument the first week of the November 2025 argument session. So in the first week of November, John, we will see both the administration, its lawyers, as well as the plaintiffs in this case arguing before the Supreme Court on the legality of the president's tariff agenda. John?
And Megan, there's a big constitutional question here, right, on the extent to which Congress can delegate its tariff powers to the president?
That's absolutely right. That is the question at the heart of this case. The Constitution initially delegated tariff powers entirely to Congress. Over the past several decades now, Congress has slowly given some of that, more and more of it, to the president, usually in specific instances. And the statute that the president used here, IEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, doesn't even include the word tariff within it. So the way, or the reason, I should say, the administration has lost the first two rounds, the initial case and the first appeal, is by saying that this statute doesn't go far enough to allow him to impose tariffs of such sweeping nature as he's done. That's what the Supreme Court will be looking at. The administration, of course, has other options to pursue tariffs if they lose this case, but this one does regard the vast majority of everything we've seen the president impose so far.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. it was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.